Hey, I appreciate the comment, but this is not accurate. The understanding of Elohim as a reference to judges is a post-biblical innovation. Elohim was never used as a reference to judges in the Hebrew Bible. It was always a reference to gods. Now, sometimes it was a sarcastic reference to entities that only other peoples thought were gods, but it never meant judges. That arose within rabbinic debates about the meaning of certain passages, and specifically Genesis 6, which had been reinterpreted as a reference to angels in the Greco-Roman period, but in the rabbinic period there were debates that this couldn't be angels, either because there was no sexual compatibility between angels and humanity, or because angels could not be disobedient to God. And so a reading of B'nai Elohim in Genesis 6 as a reference to humans arose as an alternative. But we can even see the author of John having Jesus interpret Psalm 82 as a reference to gods. Now, Jesus is interpreting this according to a later rabbinic reading that understands the gods of Psalm 82 to be the Israelites at Sinai, who become immortal upon their initial reception of the law, which frees them from the power of the angel of death, rendering them immortal, rendering them gods. But then, upon sinning with the golden calf, they are then condemned to mortality, as it says in Psalm 82, and so they return to being humans. And that's John 10's reading, which we see in some later rabbinic literature, but even that is an innovation on what the psalm originally referred to. Now, the reading I'm about to share is based on a paper I published in 2018 in the Journal of Biblical Literature on Psalm 82 as a psalm of complaint. If you would like a more detailed description of this reading, you can find free access to that paper on my Linktree. And if you'd like a more thorough breakdown of what the word Elohim meant in the Hebrew Bible and how gods were understood anciently, that is the topic of the first half of my book, Adonai's Divine Images. This is an open access publication. It is also freely available on my Linktree. So originally composed in the late exilic or the post-exilic period, Psalm 82 is a condemnation of the patron deities of the other nations, who were negligent in their duties to social and to cosmic justice in allowing the exile to take place. And so Adonai, the God of Israel, whose people are outside of Adonai's inheritance and therefore cannot access their deity, Adonai condemns them to mortality, which basically deposes them from their seats on the divine council, leaving those seats empty for Adonai to take over in order to extend their inheritance, their purview, their sovereignty over all the earth, so that the exiled Judahites can access their deity outside the land of Israel, outside Adonai's inheritance. And this is what the psalmist calls on Adonai to do in the very last verse. Rise up, O God, Kuma Elohim, and judge the earth, for you will inherit all nations. Basically, Adonai's inheritance, which we see given in Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9, has now been expanded beyond just the land of Israel to cover all nations, so that all the people of the Judean Jewish diaspora in whatever nation they find themselves can access and can worship Adonai, who previously had been limited to the land of Israel. So Psalm 82 is a rhetorical universalization of Adonai. It is a way to expand Adonai's purview and sovereignty to cover all nations, so that worshipers of Adonai can worship their deity, can access the deity's power and agency in any nation on the earth. So throughout the Hebrew Bible, Elohim always means gods. Sometimes it is sarcastic, frequently it is not. It is used in reference to people and to objects sometimes, and that's because they understood these things to be gods. If you want a definition of Elohim, deity, God, there's only one definition that holds for every occurrence throughout the Bible. A god is whatever a person or a group decides is a god.